From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The All Indiana Podcast Network.
This is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now all the latest news.
Kylie Conway has all the news you need to know.
And more.
Please stand by.
Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, March 25th. So early morning, dry and quiet start, not too bad. Late morning, getting some storms. These are not the severe storms to expect. The Indianapolis area is getting that severe weather threat later tonight. So we're talking heavy winds, strong winds, heavy rains, and possible tornadoes. The high wind warning actually starts tonight as well. Talking 7 o'clock-ish on later this evening. That's when Duke Energy is also wanting you to prepare for some power outages. Duke Energy is saying, know where to take shelter and make arrangements for your pets. If you have a power outage, you can text the word OUT, O-U-T, to the number 57801. If you are not near a TV when this weather is headed your way or hits, you can always download the free Wish TV weather app. I highly recommend you doing that right now if you have not. It shows you what's happening where you are, what's headed your way, when it should get to you. It's pretty amazing. You can tailor it to where you live, where you are. You can manage your alerts, all to keep you safe. And we've had a lot of breaking news this morning during daybreak. Locally, there was a fight that broke out at a Waffle House early this morning. It was around 3 o'clock. Police say it spilled out into the parking lot and ended with someone shot to death. So it was the Waffle House on Pendleton Pike. Lawrence police say they're now looking for 2 people involved. They say this was not random and that all involved parties knew each other. Also this morning, there's no response from the White House after North Korea test-fired its first ballistic missiles in almost a year. A senior U.S. official did confirm that North Korea fired 2 short-range ballistic missiles. According to South Korean officials, the missiles landed in the sea. The launch comes amid stalled nuclear negotiations between the United States and North Korea. And today, President Biden faces questions during his first formal news conference. He's almost certain to. Several issues are likely going to come up in the question and answer, including the administration's handling of migrants at the nation's southern border, calls for new gun control after recent mass shootings, COVID-19 vaccination plans for the country, and how Biden plans to follow through on promises of bipartisanship on Capitol Hill. The news conference is set for 1:15 this afternoon at the White House. You can watch it live on Wish TV. If you're away from the TV, you can stream it through wishtv.com or our news app. We're going to have a full recap tonight starting on News 8 at 5, so several ways you can catch that. The other story that broke this morning is AstraZeneca. It's corrected its data, its analysis of its COVID-19 vaccine. So the company is in a rare public spat with federal officials over the effectiveness claims for its vaccine. The week started with AstraZeneca saying its shot was 79% effective. Then a panel that examines claims like that based on numbers said that the numbers were based on outdated information. So it was basically an example of cherry-picking data, that's what they're saying, and threatens to erode public trust. The company now says it has recrunched the numbers and that the effectiveness is 76%, so 3 points lower there. AstraZeneca says it now is looking forward to filing for emergency use authorization with the FDA. We've heard from the governor this week, of course, on the state easing COVID restrictions. We've talked about that here on the Daily 8 podcast. Today, we're going to hear from Marion County leaders, Indianapolis city leaders. So Mayor Joe Hogsett and Health Department Director Dr. Virginia Kane are going to be talking at 10 o'clock this morning. So if you're listening to this podcast after that, you can find all of that on our website, wishtv.com, on our Facebook page as well. Make sure you have the Wish TV News app because we're going to be sending in an alert as soon as that briefing starts. As we talked about yesterday, counties and cities still have micro control over restrictions. So even if Governor Holcomb gave the timeline to drop mask mandates, that doesn't mean that'll be the case for Marion County or other places for that matter. And right now, the average number of new COVID-19 cases every day is rising. According to the CDC, the weekly average is now 56,225. So that's up about 3% from the previous week. The CDC has released a map. You can go online to find that. It shows from dark to light blue what states are doing the worst and the best. We're kind of falling in the middle at home with a neighbor's same Kentucky. Fewest cases are in North Dakota and Wyoming. The most cases are in Texas, Michigan being the closest to us. That's really bad. Florida, also bad. The new trend is worrying U.S. health officials. The CDC's director is urging everybody to stay vigilant against the virus.
We've made such extraordinary progress in the last several weeks, and if we choose to invest in prevention right now, we will ultimately come out of this pandemic faster and with fewer lives lost.
Dr. Rochelle Walensky says she's encouraged by vaccination efforts across the country. She says between 16 and 20 million people are getting the shot each week. 13% of Americans are now fully vaccinated. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is turning into a fast track for vaccinations again. So we are checking through the morning, and there are many appointments available for the second mass vaccination clinic set for the track. So IU Health will give single-dose Johnson & Johnson shots for 16 days in April. It's spread out in 3 blocks, the 1st through the 3rd, the 13th through the 18th, and the 24th through the 30th. The clinic starts one day after Indiana expands vaccine eligibility to people aged 16 or older, but the Johnson & Johnson version is only approved for people 18 or older.
We realize that Hoosiers who will be eligible when this clinic opens aren't yet able to register for those appointments at this site. Please remember that we still want our highest risk people who are eligible now to get the soonest appointments.
The state health department says it expects up to 6,000 people to get shots at the clinic per day. The curfew extension in Indianapolis is paying off for some bars and restaurants hosting basketball crowds. Those businesses and music venues are allowed to stay open until 2 in the morning. It was midnight. The general manager of Kilroy's Bar and Grill says the men's NCAA tournament has brought an influx of customers. He says there are some businesses, of course, that may benefit from the extra 2 hours a little more than others to have.
Such as nightclubs and whatnot, and us, more of a bar atmosphere versus a restaurant. So we obviously, it helps us out a lot.
World of Beer on Mass Ave is one spot not taking full advantage of the extended hours. It's closing right now between midnight and 1 a.m. The owner says it's more difficult to control social distancing and mask wearing in crowds the later it gets. Today is the first court appearance for the man accused of killing 10 people inside a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado. Ahmad Al-Aliwi Alisa is facing 10 counts of first-degree murder. Many are taking time to honor victims, including Ball State grad police officer Eric Talley. People have lined the streets as a hearse took the officer's body to a funeral home. Authorities say Talley was the first officer to respond to the scene Monday. People also gathered last night at the Boulder County Courthouse for a candlelight vigil, remembering the victims. The event prompted some deep emotion and calls for changes.
Up here. I've seen a lot of things, but boy, this one takes the cake, man. How many more have to die? How many more officers have to face down a madman with a gun?
Investigators are asking for patience, saying it could take months to figure out exactly why the attack happened where it did. The grocery store was about 30 minutes away from the suspect's home.
Searching for a romantic summer getaway? Escape with Rich Girl Summer, the new Audible original from Lily Chu. The exquisitely talented Philippa Sue, returning to narrate her 5th Lily Chu title. This time, Philippa is joined by her real-life husband, Stephen Pasquale. Set in Toronto's wealthy cottage country, aka the Hamptons of Canada, Rich Girl Summer follows the story of Valerie, a down-on-her-luck event planner posing as a socialite's long-lost daughter, while piecing together the secrets surrounding a mysterious family and falling deeper and deeper in love with the impossibly hard-to-read and infuriatingly handsome family assistant, Nico. Caught between pretending to belong and unexpectedly finding where she truly fits in, Valerie learns her summer is about to get far more complicated than she ever planned. She's in over her head and head over heels. Listen to Rich Girl Summer now on Audible. Go to audible.com/richgirlsummer.
This morning, some teachers came together to make a statement about possible legislation in Indiana. The bills would expand school choice for families. The demonstrations were at 7:15 and 8 o'clock this morning at Westfield, Washington schools. Teachers were there showing solidarity. It's in response to the debate heating up among Indiana legislators over House Bill 1005 and Senate Bill 413. Both bills would expand school choice options for families in Indiana. The bills would increase income eligibility for school choice vouchers, as well as create a new funding program for some students not enrolled in public schools in order to receive state tuition support dollars to pay for education costs elsewhere. Supporters say Indiana families should be able to choose where their children go to school and be able to take their tax dollars with them. But News 8 spoke to teachers at Oak Trace Elementary School earlier this morning who say it's bad timing when funding is already tight.
We find that 90% of the Hoosiers are in public schools, so we feel like keeping that money for us is important. And if the bills pass over the next few years, Westfield will lose $1.1 million.
That was first grade teacher Jenny Cox. She's encouraging teachers to display signs in their vehicles and homes, sign a petition opposing the bills, and reach out to their state legislators. And a proposed transportation plan goes before the board for Indianapolis Public Schools. Under the plan, students will have to walk to school depending on age and how close they live to the school. Some kids will not have bus access if they live 1.5 miles away from school or closer. The plan also calls for free Indigo passes for certain high school students to use instead of school buses.
For the Indigo bus riders, if they can make that a safe option for students, I think students having more options is a good thing.
Safety is still our number one priority. And so in the ways that we have leveraged crossing guards at some of the schools who we've enforced that policy with this year, we'll continue to do that.
The school board votes on the Indigo portion of the proposal April 29th. The plan would save the district $3 to $4 million in transportation costs. Right now, the district faces a $15 million budget shortfall. IU makes history, reaching the Sweet 16. The Hoosier women again completely shut down an opponent, this time Belmont, in a second-round blowout. IU has only given up 80 points combined in the first 2 rounds. Final in San Antonio, 70 to 48, leading to a locker room celebration. IU will now play 1 seed North Carolina State Saturday evening at 6. Ground breaks today on a big expansion at Shelbyville's Indiana Grand Casino. Caesars Entertainment says construction starts at 11 o'clock this morning. The company's spending $32.5 million to expand the gaming floor by about 25,000 square feet. The work's expected to be done by the end of the year. Caesars says expanding means more than 100 new jobs. Some Indigo riders tell us they're concerned about the future of more transit lines. That's because a proposal in the State House is gaining some traction. The bill could effectively halt Indigo's planned purple and blue lines. Senate Bill 141 was heard by the Roads and Transportation Committee and is still there. Indigo says this bill would significantly impact the ability to implement the blue line, which has been scored by the Federal Transit Administration. The bill would create a disadvantage for future Indigo projects if they don't meet certain revenue requirements. They must raise 25% of the annual operating expenses from fares and charges, and 10% of the project's operational costs from sources other than taxes and fares. If the revenue requirements are not met, no additional lines could be created. Some riders who live along current and future planned stops say it'll impact every community.
It would be difficult to have to walk or to take an Uber or a Lyft or something like that to get to the grocery. It would also be very expensive if you're having to take an Uber and a Lyft to work or to the grocery. And particularly if these are people who are maybe more disenfranchised, that are lower income people, then it might be eating up a large portion of their paycheck.
It's hard to get a good gauge on it because of COVID. I don't think it's had a fair shot yet. Also, it didn't have a fair shot with the creation either, because there was so much stipulation on what transit should be by the state.
Indigo sent Wish TV a statement after the hearing, saying the bill jeopardizes about $100 million of federal funds for transit and infrastructure improvements along the Washington Street corridor. And the Blue Line project would bring safety improvements and better roadway conditions for the entire community. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, about 9,000 people in the Indianapolis metro area use public transit for work on a regular basis. That's about 1%. Today, Indianapolis police are holding a community conversation about the city's murder problem. Officers will explain what they do after a homicide and who's involved in the investigation. IMPD says Chief Randall Taylor, several top investigators, a chaplain, and prosecutors will be part of it. It's a virtual event set to start at 6 this evening. A new survey shows when Americans will feel comfortable returning to activities like getting on a plane. The numbers come from a Harris poll conducted for USA Today. The survey finds up to 30% say they'll wait until the nation reaches herd immunity, or when 70% of Americans are immune to COVID-19. Even when they're fully vaccinated, some people say they will remain cautious. 33% plan to wait a few weeks after their second vaccine dose to eat indoors. 28% say they'll feel medically safe to fly a few weeks after a second shot. The Olympic flame is on the move, delayed by 1 year because of the pandemic. The relay that leads to the games in Tokyo started this morning in Fukushima, Japan. The torch is set for a 121-day trip around Japan. Officials say people who want to watch the relay should keep social distance and avoid loud cheering. Olympic organizers say the relay theme is Hope Lights Our Way. The opening ceremony begins on July 23rd. To business headlines now. Johnson & Johnson says it will fulfill its promise to deliver 20 million doses of its COVID-19 vaccine to the federal government by the end of this month. It comes as the company is able to increase production. The FDA has authorized Bloomington-based global pharmaceuticals manufacturer Catalent to produce the vaccine. Catalent currently fills and finishes the Johnson & Johnson and Moderna vaccines. Beginning April 6th, small businesses and nonprofits can apply for up to 24 months of relief with a maximum loan amount of $500,000. That's according to the Small Business Administration. The previous limit for such businesses was 6 months with a maximum loan amount of $150,000. The expansion is due to the long-lasting pandemic, which has especially hurt small businesses. Lumber prices continue to climb. In fact, they're up 200% since the beginning of the pandemic. The head of the National Association of Home Builders says the elevated price of lumber is adding about $24,000 to the price of a new home. Disney Plus subscriptions and its bundle package with ESPN and ad-supported Hulu are getting a price hike. Beginning tomorrow, subscriptions for the service will jump from $7 to $8 per month, while the annual subscription option will jump from $70 to $80 per year. The Disney Plus bundle will increase from $13 to $14 a month. Dunkin' has brought back its Girl Scout cookie-flavored coffee, and this time the chain bottled it up for retail shelves. They include signature flavoring from Thin Mints, coconut caramel, and s'mores. Coca-Cola is producing and distributing the 13.7-ounce bottles to retail stores throughout the country. And finally, the Ghost is staying in Indianapolis. Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton signed a 1-year, $10 million deal yesterday. Hilton wrote in a tweet, "One thing I know about this city is that they love me and I love them." He goes on to say, "It's only right I finish what I started." Next season will be his 10th with the Colts, his only pro team ever. His teammates seem happy. New quarterback Carson Wentz and punter Rigoberto Sanchez both posted on Twitter saying, "Let's go." This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
Check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
allindianapodcastnetwork.com.